My husband installed a lock on the basement door from the outside. He said it was for safety. He keeps the only key. When I asked why we needed a lock that only worked from the outside, Garrett laughed and said it was to keep the kids from going down there and getting hurt. We don't have kids. We've been married for 3 years and haven't even discussed having children yet. I pointed this out and he got quiet for a moment before saying he meant future kids. Planning ahead. Being responsible. I dropped it because questioning Garrett too much always led to arguments I never seemed to win. But I started paying attention to that basement door. Garrett went down there every night after dinner. Sometimes for 20 minutes. Sometimes for 2 hours. He always locked it behind him, and I could hear the deadbolt click from where I sat in the living room pretending to watch television. When he came back up, he'd be sweaty and out of breath like he'd been exercising. I asked once what he did down there, and he said he was building something, a surprise for me. He smiled when he said it, but his eyes didn't match his mouth. I tried the door when he was at work the next day. Locked, of course. I looked for spare keys in every drawer, every jacket pocket, every hidden spot I could think of. Nothing. He kept the only key on a chain around his neck at all times, even wore it to bed. One night, I pretended to be asleep and watched him through barely open eyes. He checked that I was breathing evenly, then slipped out of bed and crept toward the basement. I heard the lock click open and click shut, then nothing but silence for almost an hour. When he came back, he stood over me for a full minute just watching my face before getting back into bed. My skin crawled for the rest of the night. The next morning, I called a locksmith while Garrett was at work, told him I'd lost my only key and needed the basement door opened. He came within an hour and had it open in 30 seconds. What I found down there changed everything I thought I knew about my marriage. The basement had been completely transformed. Garrett had built walls dividing it into 3 separate rooms. The first room looked normal enough, a small gym setup with weights and a treadmill. Nothing suspicious at first glance. The second room had a desk with a computer and multiple monitors showing live camera feeds. I recognized our bedroom immediately, then our living room, our kitchen, our bathroom. Every single room in the house had hidden cameras I'd never noticed, and he'd been recording everything I did. But it was the third room that made me stop breathing entirely. It was set up like a small prison cell, a bed bolted to the floor, a mini fridge, a toilet behind a partial wall with no door. The walls were covered in thick soundproofing material. There were leather restraints attached to the bed frame, and on the desk, I found a journal in Garrett's handwriting, pages and pages detailing his plan for me. He'd been watching me for 4 years, since before we even started dating. He'd orchestrated our entire relationship from the very beginning. Our chance meeting at the coffee shop was planned. The coincidence of us having the same gym was manufactured. Every moment I thought was fate was actually calculated manipulation. The journal entries got darker as I read. He wrote about how I wasn't ready yet, how he needed to wait until I was completely isolated from friends and family before moving to the next phase. He'd been slowly cutting me off from everyone for years, convincing me my friends were toxic, creating conflicts with my family, making me entirely dependent on him. The final entry was dated 2 days earlier. It said, "She's almost ready. This weekend I'll tell her about my work transfer. Once we move to the new house, she'll never leave the basement." I photographed everything with shaking hands, every page of the journal, every camera feed, the soundproofed room, the restraints. Then I put everything back exactly as I found it and had the locksmith relock the door. I drove straight to the police station with my evidence. The detective who reviewed the photos went pale. He made 3 phone calls in rapid succession, then told me not to go home under any circumstances. They arrested Garrett at his office that afternoon. When they searched his work computer, they found research on keeping someone confined long-term without detection, medical information about sedation, soundproofing techniques. He'd been planning this for years. The police found something else that haunts me still. Records of 2 previous girlfriends who had disappeared. Both had been in relationships with Garrett before me. Both vanished after announcing they were moving in with him. They'd been listed as missing persons for years. I'm staying with my mother now, in a house with no basement. Every door locks from the inside. I check the locks 4 times before sleep. Some nights I still hear that deadbolt clicking in my dreams, and I wake up grateful I found that journal 2 days before my husband planned to make me disappear.